Province-wide, Manitoba has reported more than 3,100 new cases of COVID-19 since last week. The number of lives lost in that time is greater than at any time for the entire rest of the pandemic.
Wekusko Falls Lodge is in northern Manitoba, and we're located right near the town of Snow Lake. The first time I was here is 2003, and I was coming here to actually feel out the lodge itself. We had heard it was for sale, and we just came as a family fishing trip, my dad, my mom, and myself. The lodge owner gave us a couple spots on the map to try. The very first spot I hit, there was a hump in the middle that he never told us about, and I was like, oh, there's weeds on top, and I turned the boat around, just started cranking, and all of a sudden, boom, 28-inch walleye, and I was like, huh, that was kind of easy. And the big fish just kept on going, and we were just like, okay, this might be the place we've looked for 5-6 years for, and we may have found it.
Didn't actually even have a house together yet. That was just the first thing. Lodge, business, working, living together, and the best and the worst marriage counseling I think that you can do for yourselves.
We had clients in, and they were actually being called by family that they're going to be court-martialed to come home or they won't get back home, and we're like, holy cow, this is happening. This is legit. Like, what are we going to do? And then within a month of that, actually northern Manitoba was completely shut down. You couldn't come across the north of the 53rd parallel if you're from south. And so we were literally landlocked and zero ways to make an income. And that was,
I mean, I saw COVID on the news, just something in China. I hadn't registered that it would be a big deal, that it would shut things down to the extent that it did.
It's a daunting time for the province. Hospitalizations for COVID-19 are at an all-time high.
holy cow, will this come here? And no one really knew, and it was, maybe it might, it probably won't, it's overseas, there's an ocean.
New cases and deaths are both climbing at an alarming rate, and there is new concern for some communities and people most at risk. Province-wide, Manitoba has reported more than 3,100 new cases of COVID-19 since last week. The number of lives lost in that time is greater than at any time for the entire rest of the pandemic.
Our clientele is 60% American and then 40% on the Canadian side.
Starting tomorrow, all public gatherings are going to be limited to 10 people in the affected southwestern region of Manitoba.
Trying to anticipate what restrictions will remain was just a horrible task. It was impossible, really.
Look at the mouth on that thing. Having to watch what the government might or might not do and try to figure out what they were going to play, what their next move was going to be. And 90% of the time we got it wrong. Like, you'd think that, oh, it's only going to end here and this restriction will lift, and then it goes completely 180 on you. And after a year of it, we just said, we can't keep doing this. Like, I'm getting depressed just watching the news every day, trying to figure out what other countries are doing, what other governments are doing. And we just decided that we just have to go with what we got now, and whatever comes, we just have to be able to be willing to take it.
You're also going to be required to wear one of these at all indoor public spaces, as well as at any public gathering.
That's one thing, you think you got a giant walleye on? This has got to be a big pike. There we go. But they're still a lot of fun. You're still catching fish, so that's what it's all about. But well, it was just such a long fight. But that right hand is cold, I'm not gonna lie. I need to warm up in the shack for a bit.
Sometimes do what we had to do to survive. And a lot of other lodges were the same. Like, how long do you continue to carry over someone's deposit? It came down to a whole lot of faith that got us through a lot of that stuff.
Mom has it all.
I don't need the sympathy vote from people at all, but what we've learned, like just so many people have so much more stuff going on in their lives than people know. Our last 2 years, COVID aside, was like a nightmare. My wife's dad got diagnosed with Alzheimer's and had to move off their family farm. My wife's grandma passed away. My mom got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. She passed. My dad passed. Like, and dealing with COVID at the same time. Oh man, never again.
To do the scooper paper. Go.
Got it?
We totally broke a lot of family units through all this, and
We'll squeeze the trigger.
when it came to our decisions with the lodge, we didn't want our family to fall apart.
All right. So here we sit now. We're not really sure it's over, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. The phone is ringing again. We've sort of learned a little bit about how to choose a little bit more wisely between the time we spend in our business and the time we spent in our family.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Lift off! We can eat it!
But for me, it's the people, once they're on my doorstep, that's my job. I do miss that, and I'm looking forward to that, having that again, having people back on the doorstep and, you know, saying welcome.
All the ice into one spot and then scooper it.
Some practice here. Ready? Here, okay, jig it. Jig it. Oh, you got one. You got one.
I got you. Okay.
Well, let's get you. You're good to go.